Hey, fellow nuclear engineers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts. Episode 25, Making Room for a Reactor. At the start of the stream, normally I would have you guys polled about what I want to do next, but I've actually made that decision for myself. What I would like to do is work towards a reactor. And what that entails is installing a lot more room in the back of the ship so that the reactor can physically go somewhere, because it's not a small object, and I don't really want to compromise the cargo bay. And then collecting reactor parts from various derelicts out there, because I don't want to be buying them from scratch. Hell no. So that's my plan. And the reason for this is my character is shy, and I don't really want to have to deal with, like, people, I guess. So in not wanting to deal with people, the longer I can stay away from K-Leg, the better. Right? Trying to roleplay here. Which means one of the reasons I have to go back to K-Leg frequently is I run out of power. And being able to generate my own power with the reactor would keep me from being as reliant on K-Leg as I currently am. So to that end, I intend to try to build my own reactor for one of the weirdest reasons possible. But in that case, it also could be a minimum sized reactor because I don't need it to take me to, like, Venus, right? I just need it to keep me from having to deal with people on K-Leg. And those two things are very different. So let's go ahead and disconnect from this little ship. Oh my god. Pressure alarm, stop. And then figure out what derelicts have what. I have passed up a whole lot of, or rather I have scavenged and salvaged a lot of ships that had, like, full reactors. But at that point, I needed the money more than I needed the reactor. So at this point, what I'm looking to do is I would like to collect hull parts, which allows me to install mobile light systems for the back, you know, that orange style panel, and then also collect reactor parts. And I'll update the priorities in just a minute accordingly. So by collecting reactor parts, floors, and walls. There we go. So, while I am... Where am I? I am restoring the heater. Okay, that's fine. While I'm restoring the heater, let's go through what we need for the reactor. So this here is the list. We need 2 field coils, which are installed in a hole in the floor. We need the 4 core segments. We need the MHD, the pellet feeder, the fuel regulator, the large capacitor, a laser, a cryopump, a cryotank, D2O, and HE3 tank. That is the bare minimum to get a reactor running. And because we want a reactor simply for power generation reasons, so that I am not as reliant on batteries and draining my batteries down, a bare minimum reactor is exactly what we're aiming for. I'm not going to have multiple pellet feeders. I'm not going to have multiple cryo or core pumps or any of that. Bare minimum reactor is fine. So that is the goal. And we'll be looking for the parts for both the floor and the halls, and then, of course, the parts for the reactor itself. This pressure differential is like... The auto vent here is, like, really fussy. Is it still my intention to use the orange wave floors for future expansions? Yeah, well, that's the mobile space system orange way. I don't really care what mobile space system is, but I want it to be a mobile space system. I think what I need to do is I need to install pumps and another set of pumps for O2 N2 outside of the internal survival pod. For now, I don't think that there's much of a concern of me actually getting a micrometeorite strike. So I'm going to just, like, leave the door open. Plus, I have my helmet and everything, and I'm not sleeping or any other reason to put me at risk. And Glitch, thank you for the cheer. You assume there's no way to generate gas, so you just need big tanks if you want a long trip? Yeah. If you're trying to travel to, like, Venus, let's say, to do a long burn, you would want a lot of helium tanks. And you would want spare nitrogen and oxygen tanks for atmospherics and also thrust. And you would have to stockpile that stuff, and you'd probably want grav pens and a compression pants, and there's a whole long list of things that you would want to collect. But they're not exactly relevant for me, because I'm not planning on going to Venus. There's just not a lot of money to be made at Venus, unless we're doing, like, gigs, and I don't want to do gigs, because that means I have to talk to people. And I don't want to talk to people. And you can't make me. Okay. Drill, you are out of battery. So we're just repairing up some of the parts that we had scavenged from the last run of ours. But it looks like just about everything is fixed up. And then I hope my proximity alarm is on. I don't normally turn that off. Yeah, it is on. Oh, speaking of which, sit back down. And if you're wondering about Twitch performance, I am not getting any It's not me. Might be Twitch, but I can tell you with full assurance it is not me. I don't have any issues. No red lights on my end. Alright, here we are at another derelict. Come on, derelict. What you got? We are at the Happy to Help. It is an E10 Series Max. Okay. Does it have life signs? It looks pretty blown apart. Looks pretty blown up. I don't see anyone, though. Going aboard. And just because we're looking for reactor parts and floor parts and all that, so this does have some orange way. The floors that we're particularly looking for. But just because we are specifically looking for reactor parts doesn't necessarily mean I'm not gonna like make as much money as I can with my permit. Speaking of which, I think my permit is only good for a little bit longer. Let me read that before. So 8:30 at 17. So yeah, we will have to buy a new permit soon. This one's running out in a few hours. I'll have you guys potentially remind me, because like I'm really bad at remembering that stuff, that this permit's gonna be out of date sooner than later. So a whole lot of crates on the ground. Honestly, really nothing in them. This bin is installed like wrong. Who installs a corner bin that way? Oh my god. I almost want to like uninstall it and fix it, because that's just dumb. There is, as I said, orange way stuff here, and then there is the Mobile Space System light framework, which is also lightweight. So this ship is pretty much exactly what I'm looking for in terms of like lightweight systems. So we can make use of the flooring here. And you know, I might keep the reactor room specifically orange way designed, so that the reactor is color coded, and I'll work towards you know, having the reactor room be orange and everything else not, or something like that. We'll see. Because once I'm ripping up some floors, doing more floors than just a few is like not that big of a deal, because we're already doing a bit of a redesign. We've already lost pressure, etc. Oh, speaking of permits, this one expired like a year ago. So yeah, there's a lot of the mobile light framework here. There are obviously the remnants of 2 Hydra thrusters, because they would have been installed in that configuration. So this was, at some point, a spicy ship. And then, of course, we have the reactor here. We did find a pellet feeder. So let's get this repaired, and that will mark down one of the reactor items that we need. But of course, this ship is, like, as I said, pretty blown apart, so it's not like we're going to get much out of here. Is there a backpack better than the orange one that I'm currently using? No. This Awatayama bag or whatever, the loyalty bag, the Blackwing, is the best you'll find. Of course, you could dual wield them, or you could nest them. You could, like, put a bunch of bags in a crate if you wanted to. But as I've said 1,000 times, I do not like nesting bags into bags. I don't want to be, like, digging through my inventory like that, so it's not something I'll ever do. I find it the inefficiency of carrying more but having to dig through submenus after submenus doesn't make it worth it to me. I'd rather just carry less. Restore it a little bit, just so it doesn't immediately break. And I think that's, other than the floors, that's like pretty much all that I would want to take from this place. So I'll drag this back. So I'm assuming that you guys are going to agree with me that like my reactor room, the plan I have is maybe to replace some of the black floors here with the lightweight systems, or replace the lightweight systems here where the orange is, and then beyond this point, if you can imagine, this will be the, like, I'll put a door here for the entryway to the reactor room, and then beyond the reactor room, it will be all be orange. That's like the game plan, if you will. So let's go ahead and order uninstall of floors only, and I will just take the orange way stuff. And then the walls here are probably the ultra lightweight systems too. So I can grab those as well. There's not a lot of orange way panels on this ship. The other panels here, of course, are mixed with blue. So I'm gonna be choosy. You know, it is Eric's ship after all, and he can be as fussy about it as he wants. And then we'll get through some of these doors here on the sides to see if there's any more loot. I also had failed to mention, but I had meant to mention, that there's been a update to Ostranauts since I last played. It's the Hot Venus Summer Update. And the Hot Venus Summer Update adds a lot of, it adds like bin renaming and fixes a lot of like bugs and inefficiencies and things like that. So it does a pretty good job of addressing a lot of the current issues that the game has, and I'll be taking advantage of some of those features soon. Alright, my physical needs are like met at the moment. And the reason I mention that is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be depressurizing the ship here, except for the survival and inner area, so that I can redesign the ship a bit. But I'm going to only do that once I have some more parts. Additionally, I'm going to want to drag the dolly onto the ship, because if I want the ultra lightweight walls, which this is indeed the light framework walls, I can only carry one at a time, and that doesn't make sense. Oh, is the pass valid? Oh, that blue pass is valid? I misread. Well, if it's valid, let me go get it. Thank you, chat, for, like, double-checking my brain here. I, like, read the year wrong, I guess. This is a mid-tier 7-day pass, and it is valid for 3 more days. Good job, me, for, like, almost throwing that away. Bada bing, bada boom. We're good. Alright, I did mention wanting to install a door to the reactor room. The reason for this is where are we going? I want to have the individual rooms that we have on our ship register as individual rooms, because I think that's cool. I really like the idea of, like, individual rooms and the like. So let's repair this door and make use of it. And we also have some additional orange way stuff here, too. I like how this white is orange way as well. Yeah, doubt, but okay. But at the end of the day, this entire ship is made of the mobile space system light stuff, so we can incorporate all of it anyway. Alright, come on, Eric, just fix this door. Did I ever reopen the smart vent? Yes, like 5 times. Wow, repair 40. Oh my goodness. Slow down, dude. Too much. I'm going to drag this door individually because I do plan on filling the dolly with walls instead. But let's check out this room that I now have access to, because we didn't have access to this before. So it's full of more of the light systems. And it has some orange way floors. A sink, more bins. Bins with nothing interesting in them. Tattered clothing. Billy club. Scrap cloth, pill bottles, etc. Okay. Good enough. So let's go ahead and uninstall these 3 floors. I don't think there was a symmetrical room on the other side. Like, this is a, yeah, this is like, this is the extent of the entire ship. So in terms of the other light systems, I think, aesthetically speaking, I really enjoy these, like, it almost looks like grid. And I think that's going to be my, like, standard going forward. So I'm going to collect some of those floors as well. So here's the plan. The plan is, let's go ahead and close this door. I am going to... Alright, the auto vent's already closed. Because what I'm intending to do is I'm intending to rip up all the floors that are orange here, and then moving the door here, and then putting the orange floors below it. So, next task is to remove the thrusters. And I'm just going to install them, like, here, out of the way. And I have plenty of gas on the ship that I don't really need to worry about losing the atmo. We have atmo to spare. Now my suit battery is a little low. I might want to deal with that before it becomes an issue. Let's switch out. Okay, before I rip up these floors, I think it would be good for me to get the replacement flooring that will go under them. And then also, I think the intakes and then the bottom cans need to move as well. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 26 floor panels of the mobile light that I'll need first. Now, I am going to temporarily lose all thrust capabilities here as a result of doing this redesign, but, like, let's hope I don't need it. I guess I didn't really check my nav to see if I was, like, on a collision course or something, but, you know, that's fine. If you're ever wondering what's going on, it's written literally above my head. You have all but to read. It's right up there. It says exactly what I'm working on, and you never really have to ask. I'm pretty good about updating that. So we need 26 of the sort of webbing-looking floors, because I'm going to go with that, as it matches Ryoka style more than anything else. So orders, uninstall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15... 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And this stuff is lighter weight than normal floors, which is another major factor for using it. I mean, ideally, my whole ship would be made out of that stuff. I'm just, like, unwilling to rip up all of the floors of the current installation, because at some point, that's more effort than it's worth. The cost of the time doing a task like that wouldn't pay for the amount of time that I could subsequently make in the boneyard doing something else. Okay, 26 floor panels. And I'm sure I'm going to want to take other floor panels at some point, just so that I have more options. And then the other thing is this door is going to go in here. So let's get that going. I'm going to do the door first. And we will have a depressurization, obviously. And then these old walls are what? The mobile... Okay, so these walls down here are the mobile light systems, so I'm going to want to keep them. They're meta. And then I hadn't realized I should probably... Actually, the door to the reactor room having orange floors makes more sense to me. It's like, hey, danger lies this way. Also, what the hell? Why am I getting... Is it freaking pirates? Like, why am I getting proximity warnings? Nope, just a cowboy. Flying by me on a ballistic trajectory. You know, the usual. Frickin' idiots. Freaking idiots. It's unfortunate that the ones that speed the most are the police, are the NAS patrol units. It's like, if they were putting out speeding tickets, I, like, almost wouldn't mind, but they're the ones most likely to, like, ballistically collide with you and murder you. And then be like, tee-hee, we're finding you for the murder, ha ha ha. It's like, thanks, cops, really doing your job. You ever play EVA Online? No, I have not. Not ever, not once. I generally don't play MMOs. I'm kind of allergic to them. All right, there we go. There's our door. Now, for my next trick. Orders, uninstall. And all these floors are going to go. And then these floors are going to be put on the other side into the reactor room. So in terms of the ship, we're going to get a reactor room down here in this section. All that blinking door, I should have restored that more. Oh, I'm almost out of space for floors. So what I want to do... Oh, yeah, put that down. What I want to do first is to make the current section I'm standing in airtight. And then once the current section I'm standing in is airtight, I can work on the other section beyond the doors. So, just like one task at a time. That's weird. Can you pick that up? Yeah, for some reason it wasn't showing up on my ground. Alright, there we go. That's all the orange way. And now, install floor, and we want to be putting in the floor A mobile light in here. I'll just pick up all the pieces so they don't have to go collect them one by one, because like your character doesn't really do it efficiently sometimes. What? I don't know. Have any idea what task you just worked on. And there we go. Evil Uncle Ralph. Interesting name, and thank you for the sub. And Argon too. And Icarus. Cheers. Now all this floor looks awful because it's just like beat up, but it will look normal once restored. Right, like, as you can see, as it's getting repaired, it's far less muddled. So I don't know how many orange way floors I have, but now hypothetically, the ship could hold a, could hold pressure. So hull, floor, we'll do the orange mobile light. These? And I don't know how many floors I have, so we'll start I would like to say start small, but that's actually kind of a lot of floors. And let's put away the random mechanical parts and helmet that I found. And spare O2, and even my permit. That's my more valid permit now. I don't repair that. Come on, man. Hey, Joker. Thank you for the resub as well. You can't handle the flight mechanics? Any advice? As soon as I leave this place, I will give you some advice. Sure. Oh, I missed a row. Or column. So I have 2 orange Mobilite spare. How does the game determine the size of your ship? By tiles. Well, there's also by rooms, but primarily by tiles. So like my ship right now has 3 rooms. There's the airlock, there's the open bridge, and then there's the Lux quarters. So I won't have enough flooring for all of this. Before I leave this ship, let's walk through it one more time to make sure there's no more orange way that I could strip up. Are there orange way underneath the bins here? Order, uninstall. Because I think it's... no. It's just the subfloor bin, right. I mean, I figured that was the case. We are going to want the walls. And then I'll take more of the... Actually, for now, I don't have use of the Mobilite, the other style Mobilite flooring, so I'm going to leave it behind. So I think all of the orange stuff I've already grabbed, and there's really nothing else other than walls to get here. And I don't need a whole lot of walls, so I'll get 16. And I'm going to assume that, like, all of the walls here are all Mobilite systems. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we'll just stick them on the dolly for later once we have more flooring. Did I miss one? Whatever, I'll just grab another one. Uninstall. There we go. So we've got 16 floors to work with. And in fact, I'm going to install 5 of them now. So this is the Mobilite. Where is it? These. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I had pulled up 5 for the door. So this works just fine. Okay, pick up the dolly. Come over here. Pick up these floorboards. Drop the dolly. I want to restore this door a little bit more, because, like, I don't... Oh, it's actually... Is it fully restored? Nice. I'll auto-task to restore some of the floor panels. But now we have, like, a dock, or a sort of weird... Yeah. Basically a dock. But that will be the reactor once I find more components. I'm not going to bother with the conduits just yet. Conduits are really easy to come by. Oh, and the pellet feeder. So now that we have the new style flooring available to us, let's go ahead and pick up our intakes and install the intakes back to where they were, so that I can actually thrust and move around. And then install the 7 1/8 N2 cans as well. Oh, incorrect. N2 can, there we go. Now, hypothetically, I could repressurize as long as I keep this door shut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access the lock here. And... okay, I don't know what the pin code is. 6189. Okay, lock. So now I won't go out and vent things, which means I can open up the door to my cabin and repressurize everything. Cool. Batteries. That looks fine. That looks fine. That also looks fine. So we're ready to push off and try to find more reactor parts or building parts. So let's get moving. So to do a brief rundown of the flying, let's do that. First things first, in this screen, you've got the map controls. If you click on something, it will focus on it, but I find that trying to maneuver to a point without seeing your own ship is weird, so I usually put tracking off and then back to ship, so it centers on my ship. Now, my bearing, BRG, to the ship that I want to dock with, I still have one thruster uninstalled. Yes, I know. My bearing to the ship I want to go to is 100 degrees to my clockwise. So I'm going to hit E as an echo and rotate the ship. And keep in mind that it's in space, you don't need constant thrust because there's nothing pushing against you, right? There's no air or whatever. So I can just tap E briefly and will send my ship into a clockwise spin to align myself to 0. So once I get to 0, I can either hit R, which is sort of like the arrow brake, if you will, or hit Q, which is to put it in the opposite spin. It depends on whether I overshoot it or not. So now that I'm at bearing roughly 0, it doesn't need to be exactly 0. Close is fine. So I'm like 0.3 of a degree off of 0. That's fine. I can hit W to start accelerating. And this is the relative velocity between me and my point of interest, the ship that I had clicked. And I'm going to accelerate up to, let's say, 75 meters per second is fine. And then the cross velocity. So the cross velocity is, if you're completely lined up, like shooting an arrow into the back of another arrow, that's no cross velocity, no bearing difference. You're dead on. If you're any cross velocity and you will miss by a little, you're like strafing. So then you want to use A and D to reduce your cross velocity to nearly 0. And then once your bearing and cross velocity are basically at 0, you will get a proximity alert when you are 5 kilometers away from your target. And that's really all you do to get to from point A to point B. How do you see gas masks at all times? Hit G. G shows you the gas. So it's actually breathable, just 6 degrees colder than normal right now, but totally breathable. And there we go. I'm within 5 kilometers. Proximity alert pulls me out of a time acceleration because I was at time 8 speed to do the restorations. And at this point, for docking, you probably want to clear the proximity alarm because it's annoying to hear. You can start to hit S to slow down. As you can see, my relative velocity is decreasing. But usually, unless I'm flying at the target and need to aero brake quickly, I just contact my target, do a docking procedure with the uncontrolled vessel because the other vessel is uncontrolled. And then you're at this screen. Reducing thrust would be S, as in Sierra. So at this screen, what you want to do is use A and D to line up and R to kill any of your cross velocity. And as you can see, your cross velocity is actually a reading here as well. So if we're taking a look at this screen, we have bearing, which is 0.08, and cross velocity, which is negative 0.14 meters. The game sounds aren't off, it's just deafened because I have my helmet on. Our ETA to collision, because at this point I'm still moving at 64 meters per second, is 35 seconds. And generally what I'll do is I'll start to hold S, which is reverse thrust, to stop, at about 10 seconds or so. You can gauge it for yourself. It really depends on how fast you're moving towards it. I never really dock at other targets greater than 100 meters per second. The game actually warns you if you're going too fast. And then as we approach at about 10 meters per second, I'll reduce my relative velocity to, let's say, 20 meters per second. So now I'm slowing down. We're at about 20 meters per second now. And now we can just drift in. The game allows you to dock with things at roughly 20 meters per second, which is like 40 miles an hour or something like that. And there we go. Now that you have green clamp lights, you can just clamp. Done. We've just docked with it. No issues. No problems. And then, of course, you have to go through the whole checklist of, is there something that's going to kill me on the other side? So I think that probably will answer most of your questions about how to fly around. And, you know, it's one of those, like, it takes practice. And that's totally normal. So this is a Tetsudo ship, so it's not mobile light, but it still might have a reactor room or something. Although it looks like one of the passenger vessels. Sometimes these passenger vessels will have good thrusters, though. It has a bed. I don't think I'm gonna find a lot of stuff here. Wait, what am I doing? Longing for a better love life? No, don't do that. It has an old school slugger bat. Made of wood. That's rare. It's got a working heater, but that doesn't sell for very much. O2 cans. It actually, this O2 can has a lot of O2 in it, so I'll take it. A broken battery. Door to pry open. Let me drop this can off. Nope. Drop. Yeah, ships like these will often have Hydra. So there it is. There's our Hydra intake. I was going to say, usually these passenger thrusters, or passenger ships, will have really good thrusters, and that's what I was referring to, the Hydra thruster. And that's some good money. That's like 26K or something like that. Once restored. All right, door. Let's go ahead and uninstall. You've never noticed your speed when docking? Yeah, it's on there. Same with bearing and cross velocity. All the requisite and relevant information is there. So we have a reactor room. We've got a cryo pump. We've got field coils and reactor core. So that's awesome. That's a lot more on our checklist checked off. We have extra pellet feeders. We have an HE tank. We have a lot of what we would be looking for. So that's really, really cool. And a CO2 scrubber. Which we're probably going to want on our ship as well, because if we're going to be living out in deep space for a long time, CO2 scrubbing is going to be more relevant, especially if we're not cycling our airlock frequently. Thanks, that helps. It's all about practice now. Yeah. And you get better at it. I mean, I was not amazing at it when I first started, and I played a lot of Kerbal Space Program, which is, like, kind of similar-ish. So there's a bunch of ablative core liners. This pellet feeder needs repair. And finally, the HE tank is really, really nice. That one's super helpful. I make games look way too easy? It's my job. Could I ever go how the towing mechanic works in game? Sure, if I ever get a towing brace. It's really boring, though. You just install the towing brace in your airlock, and then you lock your towing brace to the ship you want to tow, and that's it. It's basically the same as docking with another ship, with like one extra step, which is you engage your towing lock. That's the difference. The full extent of the difference. So, I'm happy to cover it, but it really is not much to cover. Watching me play games, you can't commit to watching noobs play. I mean, the thing is, like, I'll make a lot of noob mistakes. I do own up to them. You know, I make mistakes pretty much on the regular. It's just, I try to avoid them. Like, I try to, well, I'll put it this way. I try to know what I'm doing. Whether I do it right is a bit different. But, like, at the very least, I'm going to self-educate to learn the proper game mechanics and to try to avoid the pitfalls of whatever game I'm playing. But that's not to say that, like, it goes flawlessly, because God knows it never does. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow spacefarers.